And it's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's start with this disgusting display by lefty losers at what should have been a sombre moment as Vice President JD Vance and Usha Vance attended the Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis in remembrance of the victims of last week's shooting. But idiot lefties had to hijack the moment.
Do better! You're a coward! Do better!
And I'll have more on JD Vance later. But first, let's check in with Joy Reid, who's gone from taunting people in tears to being in tears.
Wipe your own tears, and for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing.
I'm sorry. That what I was doing had value.
No, your show never had any value other than for my segment. Now, just last week, Joy Reid was claiming white people have never invented anything. Well, her latest claim is admitting that she's a product of DEI, and she's proud of it.
As many times as I have been called DEI or an affirmative action baby and all that, you know what I never get? Mad. Because I actually am very much in favor of DEI. I don't take that as an insult because I understand that that means that I'm just damn excellent and innovative. And yeah, I am DEI. I'm bringing diversity, and that's bringing something great. You're not insulting me. If you say, oh, you're an affirmative action person that got into Harvard, I'm like, yeah, I got into Harvard with affirmative action, and Yale, and Brown, and also, Vassar, and the University of Denver.
Yep, some bright, hardworking young Asian probably missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime, so Joy could take advantage of DEI. And what an education she received. This mad banshee is now claiming that Donald Trump was never shot. It's one thing to have these crazy thoughts in your head, Joy, but she's sharing them on the World Wide Web. Here she is with fellow former MSNBC host Katie Phang. And folks, get ready to be assailed by a weapon-grade crazy.
He's got these magical doctors who claim that he was shot in the ear, but his ear, I guess, grew back. He had a Duplo bandage on 1 minute, no bandage the next. We can't get a medical record from this alleged assassination. He was supposedly shot. We have nothing. We've got nothing.
Where are the investigative records? One day he slapped his maxi pad on his ear. The next day the ear is totally fine.
It's fine. And I remember being in mainstream media where we both used to work saying, isn't it odd that we've never asked for his medical records? And I got in trouble for that. The mainstream media isn't demanding his medical records. They're not demanding anything. They're terrified of this man. And now that the people are speculating that he might have died, we only get that online. But mainstream media is acting like everything's fine. He seems fine to me.
That's because his fine, Joy, your crazed fantasies and wishful thinking are not substitutes for facts. Now to the man who could have been vice president, the uniquely awful Tim Walz, Tampon Tim. Here he is talking about the false reports of Donald Trump's death, and he tells his sad supporters to remain hopeful that the president will die. What an utterly hideous human being this commie weirdo is.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Hideous stuff. Even Stephen Colbert, yes, the stage 4 TDS sufferer Stephen Colbert, made it clear to his audience that no decent person hopes for the president to die.
This weekend, the biggest story was frenzied social media rumors speculating whether Donald Trump had died. For the record, Donald Trump is very much alive, okay? And no, we like our presidents alive. Donald Trump is very much alive, and this whole crazy rumor started simply because Trump had 0 events on his schedule Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
And the man who wants to be the next Democrat president, and he is a front runner because the Democrats have a dangerously shallow talent pool, and Gavin Newsom, like any good lefty, isn't above whipping up hysteria and indulging in all sorts of lies and hyperbole.
I don't think Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second you want... I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
There you go. There'll be no more elections because there's a baseball cap with Trump 2028 on it. It's a joke, Gavin. That's why people are sending it to you. And he wasn't done there. Here he claims that Donald Trump does not want immigrants to vote in 2028.
You think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
Did Gavin just admit something there, that illegal immigrants may in some cases be voting? Because legal migrants have zero to fear from ICE. They're not intimidated, and various polls have shown that they're in fact in favour of Donald Trump's deportation program. Now, whoever the Democrat candidate is, they're likely to face one of the very best politicians in US history. It's a big statement, I know, but JD Vance is the whole package. His intellect, his conviction, his personal history and achievements, his beautiful family. He is the perfect candidate. And the media still haven't worked that out. They think they can take him on. The media are slow learners, and that's certainly the case when it comes to NBC. Here is host Krista Welker trying the old people are saying routine with JD Vance regarding the raid on warmonger and serial leaker John Bolton's property. The VP wasn't having it.
You know, a lot of people have already looked at this and said, this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
Well, who has said it looks a lot like retribution, Kristen? A lot of people who tried to throw Donald Trump in prison for completely fake charges that were later thrown out by multiple different courts.
And the Vice President explains here about the impact illegal immigrants have on elections because they are counted in the census. And that costs American citizens real representation.
We had way fewer House seats than we should have. One, if the Democrats hadn't aggressively gerrymandered, and two, if illegal aliens weren't counted in the census for purposes of apportioning congressional seats. The best estimates I've seen is that in California, for example, has 5 additional congressional seats than it should have because they count illegal aliens for the purpose of apportioning representatives. Meanwhile, Ohio, my home state, lost a representative. We're literally losing representatives for American citizens in order to give congressional representation to illegal aliens. Republicans are trying to balance out the scales a little bit for basic fairness and for the integrity of our democracy.
Joining me now is Newsweek's Senior Editor-at-Large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel Josh Hammer. Josh, that trend is undeniable. Having illegal immigrants counted in the census makes a difference, a big difference that undermines America's democracy.
Yeah, Rita, it's really positively abhorrent, is it not? There's an interesting constitutional legal debate here as to whether or not it should be only citizens or green card holders, legal permanent residents there. That's actually a somewhat interesting 14th Amendment legal debate. But the notion that illegal aliens, people who are in this country illegally, that they should be counted as persons for purposes of apportionment. They're literally, as a legal matter, they're literally not here. I mean, they might physically be here, but legally under the eyes of the United States Constitution, under the eyes of our government, under the eyes of the rule of law, they're not here. They shouldn't be counted. And JD Vance is right that blue states have historically disproportionately benefited from this practice. Now, it's interesting. Donald Trump actually made a move to change this practice back during the first term there. He was stopped by John Roberts and a 5-4 majority of the U.S. Supreme Court. It was an utterly preposterous ruling. At the time, I thought that Donald Trump should seriously consider basically just sticking 2 middle fingers to the Supreme Court and just outright defying the order. He didn't do that there, but now he has another opportunity to try to go for it there. That's something that frankly should have been done a very, very long time ago, and I look forward to seeing it getting done, ideally post-haste here.